Small business owners, entrepreneurs, medium startups, and VCs, this one's for you. Welcome to Beyond the Bottom Line, Balancing Evolution with Execution, hosted by Elevate Talent Solutions founder and CEO, Ron Miller. Through Ron's own hard-won wisdom, along with an array of luminaries across the entrepreneurial ecosystem, you'll glean priceless wisdom that will help you see past the day-to-day grind and into the future where you can check off today's to-do list and achieve innovation and elevation to ensure your business is future-proofed. Fulfilling and profitable, it's time for Beyond the Bottom Line, Balancing Evolution with Execution. Take it away, Ron.
So let's start out by just simply saying, if recruiting today was a wrong, it'd be called You Got Ghosted. There's no spark, no follow through, no idea what either side actually wants. But sure, go ahead and post that job for the fourth time this week and tell me again that people just don't want to work. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Bottom Line, a podcast where we stop lying to ourselves about how work is supposed to work. Today's episode is for the hiring leaders, the recruiters, the TA teams, and yes, even the executives who think recruiting is just throwing it up on Indeed and Frame. We're breaking down exactly why recruiting is broken before it starts and calling out the 7 things companies keep doing that are burning time, talent, and trust. So if your ATS is full, but your roles are empty, this one is not for you. So this one we are going to simply call, Dear Hiring Leaders, It's Not Working. I really thought I was going to go along the route of George Costanza here of It's Not You, It's Me. But really, at the end of the day, it's not working. Now, for those of you that have been following me for quite a while, listen, this is a topic, number one, near and dear to my heart, because I worked in it for 30 years as a recruiter, as a recruiting leader, as a sales rep, as a regional, as a national director of recruiting, training teams and building recruiting that action lasted. I know what I'm talking about and doing. And again, opinion is my opinion, wrong or indifferent, but I'm going to give you some strategic insight and some truths from what I've seen from the trenches, right? And what really precipitated this is, listen, again, if you followed me before, back 2 years ago, before I launched Elevate Talent Solutions, and I myself was back in the market for the very first time in my career in 30 years, applying to jobs. A really great close friend of mine that actually also helped me launch my corporation here of Elevate Talent Solutions, Emily Palmer. She and I had a podcast series called Recruiting Unfiltered, where we were sharing our recruiting journeys. And our ups, our downs, our do's, our don'ts, things we were trying. We were really raw and honest. Listen, I'd say this to everybody today. There are still over 800 jobs that I applied to 2 years ago that I've heard 0 back. And sadly, some of them are involved in the organizations that I now sit on the board from. It's a little embarrassing when you dig into it, but water under the bridge. Last summer, because of everything that I was seeing online, I actually did a video series and I posted it out there as a 4-part series for candidates on AI and recruiting, what to expect, what was going on, what they should be doing and not doing. And that original podcast and that series is always available out on our YouTube page and on our website, right? You can always access that and kept it there, not just for nostalgia, but because it still applies today, because the same things are happening today that were happening 2, 3, 4 years ago. And this really kicked off for me yesterday. So on LinkedIn, I get on it yesterday morning on LinkedIn and I'm looking for any type of updates, some interesting material, something that maybe will inspire me for the day before I get to work for some of my customers and creating and doing so. And I came across a post from somebody that I respect, that I've been following for a while. And I normally listen, this might be a fault of mine. This might be, well, my business is growing slowly. While I'm a consistent poster, I'm a consistent liker, I'm a consistent reposter and sharer. I'm not a consistent commenter. For me, unless it really sparks something, I don't comment, right? Not every post is meant for comments. Some posts are like some interaction on mine, for crying out loud. I rarely get any, but I guess you get what you give. I'm just not one to use the generic AI canned responses that LinkedIn wants you to do, like, well, that's a very thoughtful insight. That's a very great way of looking at that, Pamela. Wow, that's a very unique perspective there, Stephen. You can just click and go, right? It's built for the algorithm. And I'm just not built for that, right? If I want to comment, it's going to be something insightful. On the other side of it, if I disagree, unless it's something that is vehemently wrong, if it's for me, the keyboard cowboy, I'm just going to scroll past it, right? If I really don't like your content, your thought process, what you're sharing, or even your ideals, I'm just going to unfollow. I am going to unlink, and I'm just going to move on in life, right? So I want to bring knowledge and I want to bring experiences from the trenches. And that's what really set this off for today and recording this is somebody had posted just a really simple yes or no. Is recruiting real? I answered yes, but I also answered with a reason. And my comment got a lot of likes and shares and a lot of interaction on the positive side. And it made me think that, listen, I haven't talked about this in depth in a while. And this is just a continual, and it's not an easy one size fits all fix. It is, you got to go back to the core issue. So I want to list out for you today the 7 things that I strongly feel have gotten us here and need to get fixed in order to move forward. So let's start at the beginning, right? Number 1, this isn't recruiting. It's really what you're doing is digital panic. Job posts don't equal a recruiting strategy. I want to say that again. Job postings is not a recruiting strategy. Now, job posts are your main source of applicants. You already are losing recruiting. We're hiring posts everywhere. Who are the people actually talking to? I see it all the time. They're online. They're on our job boards. They're here. They're on our internal job boards and they get shared. Hey, check out this link. If you know someone, share it or click on it and find out about the job for yourself. We're hiring. Look at me. Look at me. Humans don't owe you attention just because you posted something. Your strategy is I'll go back to a great movie, Bad Boys, right? With Will Smith and Mark Lawrence. I'll never forget that line. He goes, "Oh, Mike Lowry, you shoot first, shoot some more, shoot again when everybody's dead. You ask some questions." That's what we do in recruiting now. We post first, we post again, we renew the post, we lose the candidate, and then we ask questions later. Or we try and say it's somebody else's fault because we are trying to justify our existence in the roles, right? Guys, this isn't Field of Dreams. Just because you posted it, it doesn't mean that they'll come. The right is just not going to flop out of the woodwork. It's not recruiting what you're doing. It's digital panhandling, right? And that's number 1. You got to rethink and get back to a real recruiting strategy. And number 2, zero specialization equals zero connection. So listen, I'm not picking on agency recruiters in this, right? Here's my opinion because I come from agencies. And I will say this till my dying day. I don't care if you're in healthcare. I don't care if you're in real estate. I don't care if you're in medical devices. I don't care if you're in IT engineering or infrastructure. There are only a limited number of recruiters that have a background in. You need someone that has thick skin, can roll with the punches, is going to learn very quickly, and would view that role as an opportunity to really expand their wings. If you're overlooking agency recruiters, then you are missing a gold line. I will put an agency recruiter up against anyone, any day of the week. But here is what goes wrong. Is you have a recruiter that's working on a director of marketing role, a CNC machinist role, 40 packagers, 10 forklift operators, and then 8 customer service reps. There's no specialization, right? And that's just spread across everybody in your office. But you have the same thing in small companies too, where you're trying to drive recruiting through HR, who normally doesn't have the time to do it anyways, right? Because they have 800 other things that they need to be doing. And that department is either just been completely obliterated through the cuts and cuts over the last couple of years, and doesn't have the bandwidth anymore, or doesn't have the training in the background to do it right. So they're doing what they feel is the right. But you can't speak to the role's language. You can't sell it a source for it if you don't understand it. Agencies that I'll use forklift operators. For example, we staff forklift operaters here at XYZ Widgets. Right? Great. Why need a forklift operator? Awesome. Sit down or stand up. Stand up. Are they picking waters? Yes. Okay. I know exactly what you need. I got those. And then the person gets there and they have no idea what they're doing because there's no specialization of forklift operators. Pop quiz. Do you know how many prominent types of forklifts there are? That would be, there are 10 prominent types of lifts. And you know how many attachments are you be able to utilize on those 10 lifts? Line number would be 12. So you have 10 distinct lifts with 12 different types of attachments. And not everybody uses the attachments the same way in what their business is. Everyone uses the lifts the same way. It goes up the same height, then every job is the same. But unless you know it and specialize in it, you have no idea what you're talking about with those 22 variations just in 4 years. You don't think it's specialized? It is. And you're missing the boat. You don't need to be an expert in everything, but you damn well need to understand what you are filling, what your candidate needs, and what your customer needs. And if you can't speak the world language, you can't sell or source for it, right? You're posting a brain and hoping that the right person drops out of the sky, right? You're not going to hire a podiatrist to do brain surgery, and we're not putting people on Holiday Inn Express every night that they come out being an endocrinologist, right? So sending generalists into specialized territory. Don't do it. If you want to advance your business, talk about specialization. I've done it. I've had teams that have done it. I've gone against the corporate green and setting it up that way, but I will tell you the results that we drove in terms of reducing spend, quality of time with candidates, shortening time to fill, reducing turnover, and increasing first day arrivals was mesmerized. And we did it with specialization. There is a method to the madness, and we got away from that a long time ago. It is time to hit the reset because you're not connecting, not recruiting. Number 3, pipeline. We don't have a bench. We don't have a pipeline. We don't have a plan. Well, we think we like to talk about a pipeline as well. My ATS is my pipeline. No, it's not. And here's why. Because on the average, in agency-led especially, 30,000 plus candidates in your pipeline. Do you need 30,000 candidates in your pipeline? What do those 30,000 candidates represent? Do you upkeep on the skills and backgrounds and the work histories of those 30,000 people on a weekly basis? Do you keep a constant contact with them? Or have you just bastardized your automation so far to the fact that a lot of them don't respond? So you got to increase your list in order to get more responses to fill the roles that you're in there, and you're not getting responses from people, and you get pissed about it because now you're wasting time on people that you say aren't listening, but you're just blasting out there anyways. For companies, regardless if you're agency, you're non-agency, it's all about applicant flow. That's all it is. That is all that matters at this point is applicant flow. And it's not about building actual talent relationships. It's like dragging out the hose just to prove there's water, even though you got the hose pointed towards the drain and it's just all going down it. That's what we do in recruiting and talent acquisition things, right? Volume isn't value. You don't get points for a full inbox of the wrong people, right? Doesn't work. You got to get to build a pipeline. It's so much easier when you're building to the pipeline. It's easier if you fill a pool and then you need buckets of water out of the pool and you only have to fill an inch of water back in instead of filling the whole goddamn pool again. I can't create another analogy and how this affects because we don't build pipelines, because we don't specialize. We're so hungry. We got to justify what we're doing. We got to justify our existence. We don't want to end up on the rip side, right? Because recruiters will cut as well. So we go volume. We flip on the hose, we pour it at the drain, we try and drink out of it as we go. And everything that runs down the drain, so be it. It's going to get recycled somewhere by someone doing something else, right? It's a waste of money and time if you're not pipelining, you're not building to a pool. But these are the things that we build Elevate Talent Solutions to solve. Number 4, AI and automation. They're tools. They're not replacements. Right? And let me be clear. I am not anti-AI. I am not anti-automation. Not by a long shot. I believe they have a place. I believe they work extremely well. And I believe that they are extremely important to get recruiters out of mundane tasks, take time, talent, and energy. It's not building relationships. Good AI is meant to buy time, not replace thinking. And most orgs use 40% capacity. More often than not, these tools filter out the best candidates. And 90% of the users really don't know how to use them, right? Case in point on this. Just this morning, I saw a post from somebody at Salesforce, right? Now, I love Salesforce. I think it is one of the greatest forward-thinking tool that has been on the market. I really do. And what they put into that tool and what you can do with it is amazing. How it can integrate to so many different systems is out of this world. But the post was simply about somebody that was helping a client and they did an audit of Salesforce. Salesforce ain't cheap, nor should it be, because of what they offer. But man, when you make that kind of investment in a tool like Salesforce, you do it with a purpose. And during audit, they share that 37% adoption. Could you imagine spending that kind of money and getting 37% adoption? That's like going out and buying a family a new car and they only use it 37% of the time because they have no idea how to put it in drive, right? There's 2 people that know how to drive it. Everyone else doesn't even know how to open the door. Honest to God, 37%. But I've seen that time and time again throughout my career, including tools that I've helped implement. And we're going to get into one of the biggest things as to why that happens. But man, it is frustrating when you make that investment in these tools and they're not simple, non-costly investments. And then we do it in a rush fashion. We don't have the infrastructure to tie it in. We leave out the right people to help us build the connection, to ensure that it works right. We rush through UA testing in order to just say, yep, it works. And then we do all of this virtual training that is absolute garbage. And that brings us to number 5. Training is a joke and it shows. 100% shows. Training is like this, right? Here's 4 webinars, a 300-person Zoom call, and a Google Drive. Good luck. There's no time, there's no personalization, and no action. If we train astronauts and we train recruiters, NASA would be Uber. You don't become a recruiter and become a liability. Training is such a key point. Like real estate, companies look at training as a location like its cost. Training is non-revenue generating. I beg to differ from a different perspective because poor ass training is poor ass results. And the money that you spend in the tool, the frustration, turnover that comes with it, the miscommunication and the missed opportunities with candidates, what that does to branding, what it does to your fill rate. You don't think it generates revenue? It kills revenue if you don't do it right and invest in training. Training today is a joke, and I have seen it firsthand. I have stood up and rallied against, listen, I was involved in implementation of a fantastic tool that, again, was rushed to market because somebody wouldn't listen, right? Because they have all the answers. They know better than everybody, right? They're driving the bus and you get on his Kramer. I got the tool in my hand and I'm driving the bus. I'm playing the guy off. And they're like, you're making all this stuff. And people kept pulling the cord. They're driving the bus. Everybody's on it. You're getting to your destination no matter what that means. And those are the biggest follies in terms of lost opportunity and revenue and cost. And then you got to cut. And it's training, it's recruiting, it's HR, non-revenue producing. Training is one of the biggest revenue producers that you possibly could. And most people just completely overlook it because they can't tie a direct dollar to it. But man, add that tool. We drove the bus right to the end. We did that. It's a costly 4-part webinar, 300 people on each call, nobody paying attention. Everyone thinks they can just go back and watch the video, knock that training into 2 increments on each call. And you know what happened? Like 20% of the people got it. And 50% of them didn't get it because they weren't even using it right. I actually got in my way at the very end before I was riffed out and downsized because sales were on the tank. My position was no longer needed because I was recruiting. revenue generating, whatever. I did an in-person training on it, and the light bulb moments that went off in each of those trainings, what those SMEs, that's how you do this, right? And the training doesn't fit that learning style. A lot of these people are tactile. They want to see it. They want to feel it. They got to be able to, and they can't do it in 45 seconds. Training is a joke and it needs to be fixed. Number 6, quotas. Not recruiters, talent acquisition, HR, they still live and die by metrics that reward activity results. And to say it again, it rewards activity. It's like we're all running call center. Like we're add more names to the ATS. Great. We still fill the job. Oh, get more names. How many useless resumes are you reporting right now for ATS? How many candidates are you adding on a weekly basis that aren't a match, are a match, and you don't even know, but aren't going to work, aren't calling back, or just dead in your thousands, because we move in quotas, because we have to justify our existence, because if we're not pulling people in the door, then how do we fill? And it's just become so inhuman in the process, just so inhuman, right? We don't connect. We just process everybody through like, it's just absolutely crazy. And then traverse it. But I see this all the time too. We post, we pray, we hope these people come in. We get all of complain about we're not getting the right people. We're not getting quality. They don't get back to me. Candidates ghost me. In the meantime, you're not getting back to candidates. You're putting them in your database. You're promising on something in the future if you even get back to them. And then you never get back to the map. It's this black hole of ambiguity that just sucks for everybody. And then it gets even funnier for me because then the candidates that we do connect with, I see so many talent acquisition recruiters do this. You treat them like you're running the cereal aisle at ShopRite. You get out there online and you're like, hey, everybody, I got Raisin Bran this week. Anybody want Raisin Bran? Everyone have seen these Cocoa Pops? These Cocoa Pops, I can't wait to help these Cocoa Pops. Come over here. Everyone, cornflakes. Do you want some cornflakes? Look at my cornflakes. Hey, you stack your candidates up online and say, here's our candidates of the week. Hey, here's our person of the week. You're like tossing them out there like they're a worm on the hook, man. Hey, if you want this person, give me a call. There is absolutely zero connection. Seriously, would you want someone to just dangle you out there and say, hey, if you want to hire Samuel, here he is. Take a look. Put on some candles. Take a stick. Oh, maybe he'll bust like a pinata. He'll get some free tea. But man, take him for a test drive here visually and hire that guy. Zero connection. I hate every time that I see that. I hate it. It's like you're selling cereal, man. I have a cereal aisle. No shit, Sherlock. You run a recruiting agency. You run a professional staffing firm. You cater to the staffing industry. Do we not think you have a full cereal aisle? How about you get to know my business? And how about you quit pointing your candidates to your goddamn internal job board to tell them that they don't qualify because you don't particularly like them or don't want to get to know them? You need to dangle. You need that connection be made outside and you're charging an arm and a leg for it. That quota shit, gotta stop. You gotta get back to quality. Honest to God. Recruiters that I've taught to do this, they'd run everybody else, right? Quotas, not equal quality, folks. Stop running call centers and get back to running recruiting. And lastly, marketing. There is confusion and not clarity. And this is what I mean. And I want to be very specific because I did not rationalize this. There is a huge missed opportunity. And this is what I mean. Marketing is always completely left out of these launches, of these changes. And it's so important. One, you need internal buy-in to what you're going to do. People need to understand what it is that why are you, how will it affect them? What is it going to cost? What is it going to change? Is it going to positively impact? Can they get their questions answered? What is it training like? Marketing is to help walk you over the closet, see there's no boogeyman, and then get you to buy in. There is internal buy-in that is being missed. Marketing departments and marketing individuals and marketing contractors can help with. And same thing with marketing to your candidates. Candidates at this point are guessing how your ATS and your AI tools work. They have no idea what you've implemented, how it works, how it brings and what you're looking for, how it's input, or how to get to a goddamn recruiter. One recruiter wants keywords, another hates specific keywords. Everybody's looking for something different. Nobody shares what they're actually looking for, how they process resumes, or what the system flags. People need it, but you won't even show them the rule book. Marketing help that in educating the candidates of what's coming, how it will benefit them, how it works, do's and don'ts engaging with your business. You want to change the game, you got to get back to the basics. And those are the 7 things for me that need to change and why recruiting is broken today. It's not fixable. But unless you're willing to start back at the basics and do something different, you're going to do the same thing day in, day out, same stinking results. But this is a big reason that I created Elevate Talent Solutions, is to overcome these obstacles that I've lived over the years and bring you past those pitfalls that I experienced and climbed out and built winning teams and reduced expenses, reduced recruiting costs, increased candidate engagement, increased fill rates, increased time to fill, decreased time to fill. There are so many benefits, right? It's like the Jerry Maguire moment. Do we need more customers or do we need a smaller base, more loyal people to pay attention to and get to know? And Jerry Maguire and shit this for you. So let's call it what it is. Recruiting isn't broken because people don't want a word. Recruiting is broken because of a machine that prioritizes noise over nuance, speed over substance, cost over efficiency. So you've got undertrained recruiters using misunderstood tools to execute outdated strategies. And you're surprised when the talent doesn't show. It's not a talent problem. That's a you. You can't build a future-ready team with yesterday tools and no real strategy. If you want better results, fix the damn process. That's it for this episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. And it's a nerve. Good. Maybe now's the time to actually recruit like your success depends on it, because it really does. And if you need help building a roadmap, identifying what's wrong, or someone to work with to build what's right, www.elevate-talent-solutions.com. Check out our website. This is what I'm here for, and I'm.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. Do you have questions for Ron or today's guest about this episode? Reach out, and your question might be featured on next week's mailbag. You can learn more about Ron and Elevate Talent Solutions at elevate-talent-solutions.com or on LinkedIn. This podcast was edited and produced in partnership with Adrian Rishart, principal of boutique marketing firm ACR Ventures. Check her out at acrventures.com for all your small business marketing needs. Be sure to hit that follow button and send us love letters and episode ideas to Ron Miller at elevatetalentsolutions.net. Tune in next week, and thanks for listening.